What are communications with the predecessor auditor? The predecessor auditor is simply the previous auditor that performed the audit engagement in the past. The successor auditor must attempt to communicate with the predecessor auditor before accepting an audit engagement. However, it's important that the client give permission for this communication, because ultimately it is up to the client whether or not they want their previous auditor discussing any matters with the successor. It's important that the successor auditor ask about the reason for the change. This could potentially uncover any issues of management integrity, such as fraud, illegal acts, or disagreements. Access to the work papers is another issue that would be discussed. The predecessor auditor ultimately owns their own work papers and can decide whether or not to share those. So they may share them, they may not. Ethically, the predecessor auditor should attempt to share some information with the successor. This process may trigger additional letters from the predecessor auditor to the successor auditor just to confirm the client's consent and to establish how the successor auditor can use the work papers. And typically that would be to limit the scope and use. So to just clarify that the successor auditor can examine these work papers, but only for their own use and should not share those with anyone else. The key here is, remember, the successor auditor must at least attempt to communicate.